Hello, it's West Pacific Market Analytics, and it's Glenn coming at you here. It's Monday evening, but I thought I'd get a Tuesday morning coffee ready and going here a bit early. Put it out tonight, ready for tomorrow. And what I want to do here in this morning coffee is I want to highlight one trade, a trade that I think is just absolutely in the money and offers just incredible upside potential with a very, very low risk window. There's other trades that we are chasing on the Discord site besides this one trade, but I want to at least share one with you here. Of course, we're chasing that Nvidia and Tesla short, the double granite share one, and we're looking at I'll talk about that as we go a little more. We're looking at a couple of pro share ones. I like the pro share, sometimes a little bit over the Direxion, but both are good. Both are well capitalized. ProShares has about an 80 billion capitalization. Direxion has about a 50 billion capitalization. So they're both great. The I should say, excuse me, the Granite shares is pretty new, so they've only got about a 10 billion capitalization. But I'll tell you, 10 billion capitalization just for this one trade off the top on Nvidia and Tesla. I'll take some risk on that because I think it's going to be a big trade as well. But what I want to do is highlight the one trade here, and that's TZA, or short the small caps. So let's just get over to that. Let's look at the disclaimer here first. These updates are for entertainment and entertainment purposes only. Enjoy it and educational purposes only. It's been a long day. Been working here and getting this report ready. So take a look at it. Again, I want to just put out again on each of these videos for the next couple of weeks as we're doing this special to join the Discord platform. To join right now at a $299 3-month trial that can then be applied to the full year subscription. And the full year subscription is not expensive. It's about double that amount or just above. So you can apply that to a full year. And I guarantee you one trade you're going to pay for the full year. So, I mean, this trade alone should pay for you to come on board the Discord channel. We'd love to have you. If you want, we can talk on the telephone, as I mentioned. For now, I'm just putting my contact information here, destinytrading@gmail.com. Send me out an email, get you out some info, and then, of course, tell you how you can pay. And then we'll get you a link over here to our Discord channel. So let's go into the Discord channel here. We've added this new sector here. As I told you the other day when I did the AI report, we pulled all the AI models out here. So, we're going to be updating this. I'm going to be adding some other models in here so you can go in there and take a look at them. We're keeping the crypto information relevant. We've got the SOL and recent SOL and ETH targets here. For instance, we've got a target of about 2,500 here on ETH. And we've got a target right now on SOL at about 177, and it can go lower. So we're going to see how it holds at that 177. So we've got all that in there. Key signals right here. We got all technical signals. Those are updated. We've got all the top internals. Semiconductor model here, I want to talk about that the other day, is topped out. Let's look at that as we're looking at this other trade. Maybe we'll look at the SOX trade. It's got a little bit higher here to go. You notice here topped out right here, and it should top out again right here as we hit the dot curve. So we're kind of watching that. But let's go over here into our trades. Here we are into our trades. And what I want to do, let's not get into these other trades I put above. Here we go. ProShares, I put this here for the members, has about an 80 billion capitalization. Direxion about 50 billion. So they're well capitalized. If you want to do FNGD, that's another trade I'm going to be putting up here for the members to look at. That is a little bit of a different structure. So the capitalization, that is definitely a much, much riskier trade because it doesn't have the same capitalization structure. And Granite shares is about 10 billion, which if you're playing that Nvidia and that Tesla short, 10 billion is not bad as a capitalization from a risk standpoint. So I'm always looking at that. I want to see what the risk is. Now here is the first model here on TZA. So let's just go into these real quickly here. Is that the one I want to start out with? Now let's actually start out with the tracker first because I want to show you something here on the tracker that really stands out. So let's start with the tracker. Now the tracker of TZA, I use IWM. Of course for TZA it's the Russell 2000. And what's interesting on the Russell 2000, it's now hit a new high up here. You can see that right here. But I really like how it's done a, not perfect, but the stick above on the weekly, I show you in that moment, works for me. It's got a nice looking triple top pattern on it. Total new high. But what I really love about this setup, we're looking at the weekly model here, is the first support here is all the way down here. So this can go from here to here, which would just be a barn burner trade for TZA. So there's a huge gap here to the gate. And if it were to break below the gate, it has to price all the way down here into V. So this has got a chance to go from here to here, which would put it, which put the TZA trade even higher than the last rip that it did here. So I'm going to show you that, just to show you it's probably going to go all the way down to here. It'll probably come down, we'll have a bounce, and then it'll come down further. So we'll see how long that'll take, but there's still some things have to happen here. You see here, the signal has turned up here. This signal has not gone off since its low in 2003. It's gone off on the weekly. I'd like to see it go off on the monthly. It may. I think it's ripe. I think you're just trying to play for pennies here. I've advised my members if they want, I would go ahead and get into this. I think it's ready now. You could get a little bit more room here, but I really think we're ready to go here. I'll show you why I might want to wait on it. But that trend right there we need to reverse, and I'll show you a few other reasons. Now let's look at the really big picture here on TZA. So you can see it's not quite a perfect triple because this candle here did stick up a tiny bit, but it's not a real body, right? It's just the wick. So it's still got a really clean looking top going across the top here. It's right up at the velocity, or excuse me, the Mach. I like to see taking on a trade where it's pushed all the way up to the top of the Mach here. And again, even here you can see that everything is really deep, right? Now again, that signal has not turned since 2003. So here on the monthly, it hasn't rolled over. So I'd like to see that monthly signal roll over. But I don't think that's the most important thing. If we go up to this really shorter term TZA model or IWM, I want to watch this. So you can see here how back in July, the velocity capped out. So the blue is the velocity. In July, it capped out. You see how it's just kind of flat at lining while the price continued to move up. The trends popped out. It popped out a little bit here on the trend. I'd like to see all this start to break down. Once that starts to break down, we may not, I mean, it's obviously looks like that could be the high right there. And I see that in another model. So you see right there where it came up to the trend right there, that is probably the high. So even if this takes a little bit of time before it breaks down, I'm not sure we're going to get back up to that high. That's why I say it might be ripe here. But there's some things got to happen. That has to roll over. That signal right here has to roll over. But here's what I like about TZA. This is a big picture here. And you can see how right here, this is the first time it's come all the way down and hit the pink line right there. So you notice that bar about a week ago would correspond with that topping wick we saw on the Russell 2000. So I think that looks really good. But you notice it's nicely positioned because you're priced right here in the finishing wedge of the V channel. You've got the trend above, and you still have to have the velocity build. So you notice we have trend up, but we still have velocity coming down. So this still might take a little bit of time before it's ready to go. I don't think it's just ready to exactly rip lower here yet, and I want to see that change a little. We got to get that velocity start to rise, and you can see it here. You notice here was this last big move up in TZA. Look how beautifully the model read it. And you can see what's happening here. If we go back to 2023, here's our channel, right? Coming down here. Here's this big rip above the channel. So you got to be careful. Once you leave the channel, it's going to want to drop back down to the channel until it gets to a certain point. But you still got to be aware when you get too far above the channel, it's going to want to come back. So you notice it came back and then kind of chopped around above it and then finally fell into it as the velocity continued to come out. Then you notice it kind of held up a bit as we rose back up here, and it just kind of chopped around. It couldn't really rise because it was above this rise. The price rise is typically when it's down at it. Like you see when we had this big rise out of December. Look at that. Beautiful. It just went right up the trend, and the velocity built beautifully, peaked out. Of course, you're saying to yourself, hey, this is getting real peaky. We still got the V channel below, and now we've had this final washout here. And I think this is the final washout simply because you can see on this model, when those other rips happen back here, here's that big rip up here, we still had not finished here on the pink. This is the first time in the history of the model that it's hit all the way down on the weekly pink there. I call that the pink line hit. Now that you'll understand myself as we go forward, because you're not going to see any modeling like this anywhere out there. I've created this entire system. It's all momentum. It's based on momentum-based, physics-based trends, and it's really accurate. And you can see here where we've had this velocity coming out. So we really, we're right here in the V channel. That's where you want to be priced. You're well below the trend. Trend above, you like that because you got this nice gap. See, that hasn't really happened before. So that's got a chance to rip up there. But what I want to see on the shorter term model here also, this is actually the daily, to see this trend start to turn up and see what will happen is the trend will turn up first, and then we'll get a V shape here in the velocity, and the velocity will begin to rise. You see, just like here, right? The velocity is coming down, you get a V shape, and it rises. So overall, I mean, it is definitely getting very attractive here and very close to a good looking trade. I really like it. I really like this trade. The last thing I like is right here on TZA. You can see here going back, this is a really big picture. You see here back in 2023-24, and you notice this big, the V channel formed above here, and then you notice that we got up here to $37 here, and we topped out here in the V channel. So it needed a price there. So the entire time that it was coming here, working down, and then the V channel rising, it wanted to, you see, it's in the trend. So it rose up into the trend of the V channel, and then it dropped out of the V channel, because that obviously, it's not just one model. You have to look at the other data flows as well. And then, of course, the signal came down. We had a signal heel low. And again, it rallied back up on this last poke at 25.42. But remember, I think the way it's setting up, this move will take us higher than 25. So, you know, we're pricing down here pretty cheap. You know, this is going to be a ripper. I mean, here it went from 9 to 25. Here, I think we're pricing down around 7. I hope they don't split it. I didn't look, because that would be beautiful, because here it'll probably go to about 7. It'll go above 25. So you'll be looking at a 200+% gain here. And you always want to trade where you got the V channel above. You notice here, you're really deep, up to the V channel. Down here, you're pretty deep, up to the V channel. You notice down here where it got kind of deep at the trend and started to come up and then wanted to come back down. But I like it. The other thing I like is, you notice we've got the signal focus here. No signal focus here, no signal focus here. Now again, we're going to need to see the signal turn together. So both of these lines move up, and that'll be absolute confirmation that the trade is on. So that's TZA. Now I'm going to keep this trade current here on the morning coffee. We're going to run this together. So look for future videos here. As soon as some of those signals start to ripen in the next couple of days, when they ripen, I will do another update on this, and I'll put on the morning coffee. This is the TZA update. So you'll be able to see that. We're going to run this trade. And again, I'm going to be developing those other SQQ, SPXU, those two Granite Share, NVIDIA Tesla shorts, 2 times short NVIDIA, 2 times short Tesla. We're looking at that. And then we're going to run FNGD. I'm not sure if we want to play with that or not, but it's ripe too. It looks pretty good. And we're going to be looking at all those to see what the profit potential is. The TZA, as I said, a 200%er is something you want to chase. You know, what's nice about this, you don't have the erosion of options. You can put your money in here at the low soon and then just let it run. And I'll tell you when to get out. You know, I'll keep this current as we go forward. So get ready on this one. I really like it. I hope you're going to listen to me on this, and I'll show you how this all works, and we'll get going on it. So thanks for tuning in. Have yourself a great day tomorrow on Tuesday. And again, if you want to join the channel, please send me an email, and or we can talk on the phone. Let me know. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about anything. Even if you've got a particular stock you'd like me to look at, let me know. Or even send me a message there over on the Twitter feed, or a note even on the YouTube. Thanks for coming in. See you.